An election year investigation by Senate Republicans into corruption allegations against Joe Biden and the Democratic presidential nominee and his son Hunter involving Ukraine found no evidence of any improper influence or wrongdoing by the former vice president, bringing to a close a highly politicized inquiry. As the Republican leaders had hoped it would tarnish Fat Ass 45's rival, and it didn't. The only thing that got tarnished was Fat Ass 45. The report asserted that Hunter Biden traded off his father's name to close lucrative business deals around the world, and that his work for Burisma Holdings, a corrupt Ukrainian energy company, while the former vice president was directing American policy toward Kiev, gave the appearance of a conflict of interest and alarmed some in the State Department. The 87-page document released on Wednesday by the Senate Homeland Security Committee contained no evidence that the former vice president improperly manipulated any American policy toward Ukraine or committed any other misdeed. The panel's Republican chairman, Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, had made little secret of his political ambitions for his report, boasting for weeks that his findings would demonstrate Biden's unfitness for office. Instead, the result delivered on Wednesday appeared to be little more than a rehashing of unproven allegations against Biden 6 weeks before Election Day, allegations that echo a Russian disinformation campaign that had been pushed by Fat Ass 45 and his allies. And all the days before its release, Johnson conceded in an interview that there would be no massive smoking guns, saying that there was a misconception on the part of the public that there would be. Its conclusions were largely the ones that Johnson and his investigative partner, Senator Charles Grassley, who's a Republican to rival, had before they began their work with some new details from State Department and financial records. It concluded that Hunter Biden's position hindered the efforts of dedicated career service individuals who were fighting for anti-corruption measures in Ukraine. It did not clarify the nature of the hindrance beyond saying that the situation was awkward for career State Department officials who were required to maintain situational awareness of Hunter Biden's association with Burisma. It was also filled with details that emphasized the unseemly appearance created by the younger Biden's involvement with Burisma, given who his father was. Section 8 of the report was entitled Hunter Biden, a Secret Service protectee while on Burisma's board. But the chairman discovered during the course of his investigation is that the Obama administration knew that Hunter Biden's position on Burisma's board was problematic and it did not interfere in the efficient execution of policy with respect to Ukraine, the report said. In a statement on Wednesday, Andrew Bates, a spokesperson to Biden's campaign, accused Johnson of subsidizing a foreign attack against the sovereignty of our elections with taxpayer dollars by promulgating a long disproven hardcore right-wing conspiracy theory about the former vice president. He also chastised the chairman of the Senate's leading government watchdog for consuming committee resources when his panel should have been conducting oversight of the catastrophically botched federal response to the pandemic. Republican investigators found no evidence that Biden acted inappropriately, including when he joined other nations in pushing for the ouster of Ukraine's top prosecutor who was investigating Burisma. Fat Ass 45's pursuit of that debunked charge is what prompted his impeachment last year, after he pressured Ukraine's leader to look into it himself. Even before the report's release, Johnson found himself fending off charges that he had abused his Senate powers to aid Fat Ass 45's re-election campaign, and in so doing, he inadvertently boosted a Russian disinformation campaign that American intelligence officials have said it is designed to denigrate Biden. Joe Biden and the Democrats have conceded that the optics of Hunter Biden's position were bad, but the former vice president has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing and pointed to Johnson's own support of American policy toward Ukraine to make his point. The report's top finding is that Hunter Biden's presence on the Burisma board posed a challenge for American diplomats, and it rested heavily on the testimony of George Kent, who is a State Department official involved in Ukraine policy. Kent had raised questions, including with Biden's staff, that the situation made it very awkward for all U.S. officials pushing an anti-corruption agenda in Ukraine. Kent's statement are not new. He had a prominent role in the House's impeachment inquiry last fall, where he detailed his concerns about Hunter Biden, but said that he did not witness any efforts by any U.S. official to shield Burisma from scrutiny. So there was no time, as I've testified, that the U.S. government, the U.S. Embassy, had ever made a decision about the corrupt owner of Burisma on the firm itself, where we took the presence of a private citizen on the board into account. Neither Biden's campaign nor Johnson would say whether he had sought information directly from the former vice president, and an attorney for Hunter Biden did not respond to a request for comment. But Johnson's investigators had conducted 8 witness interviews, including some as recently as last week as the report was finalized. In an interview last week before the report's release, Johnson said he was simply conducting the type of oversight with which his committee was tasked, and suggested that the investigation had been thrust upon him because Biden had opted to challenge Fat Ass 45. The senator said that he never thought Joe Biden should run for president, and hinted that the former vice president had cognitive problems, a basis attack frequently hurled at Fat Ass 45. Senate Democrats have sought to shut down the inquiry, noting that it was based on allegations that Russia has fanned about Biden and Ukraine. Senator Chuck Schumer, who's a Democrat of New York and the minority leader, tried unsuccessfully last week to force through a resolution squashing the investigation. He noted that the United States had just imposed sanctions for election meddling on a Ukraine lawmaker with ties to Russian intelligence. Now, Andriy Durkak, who was peddling edited tapes purportedly showing how corrupt acts by Biden in Ukraine. The tapes were part of a covert influence campaign, the Treasury Department said this month, and it was bent on spurring corruption investigations on both Ukraine and the United States, designed to culminate prior to Election Day, like the one Johnson conducted. The fact that a powerful Senate committee may have fallen victim to misinformation from Moscow, Chuck Schumer said, is appalling. Mr. Durkak claimed that he had provided information to Johnson and Grassley, though the senator said they never sought or received anything from him. They have worked with Andriy Telizhenko, another Ukrainian, despite law enforcement officials sharing concerns with the committee that he too could be spreading Russian misinformation. Johnson forcefully denied that his report was based on any disinformation, but he also dismissed the contention that the claims should be off limits because bad actors are amplifying it. If there is somebody in Ukraine and somebody in Russia also publicizing the fact that Biden and his son created this massive conflict of interest, Johnson said, is that something are we supposed to take hands off attitude toward? Democrats were not the only ones taking issue. Last week, Senator Mitt Romney of Utah, the 2012 Republican presidential nominee, criticized Johnson for pursuing what he called a political exercise. It's not legitimate. It's not a legitimate role of government for Congress or for taxpayer expense to be used in an effort to damage political opponents, Romney said. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, Ryan Van Wyk, and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when the new video comes out, and thanks for listening.